Hey, this is Rod Bragato, and I'm here to train for a how to lead a team huddle before or after practice on an athletic sports team for FCA. And so here we go. The purpose is to make them feel more positive about Jesus. What an opportunity that athletes that are so busy, they a lot of time they don't have time for youth group, but you get to make them feel more positive about Jesus. So here's some assumptions we want to make. First of all, they're not Christians. Only 4% of teenagers are Christians. So the chance that they're saved is probably pretty low. This is more of an outreach than discipleship. They don't know what the word Christian is. They probably feel kind of negative towards it. I very seldom will use the word religion. They have the wrong view of God. They think it's maybe boring and restrictive and he's impersonal. Just the opposite of that. And they don't know what Christian terms are like grace, chaplain, salvation, any of these stuff that we use at church and stuff, they just have no comprehension what it means and stuff. So we got to really talk on that on their level. Um, Here's a format we use. Try to keep the meetings to about 7 minutes and respect their time because they're busy. First of all, as people are coming, if some are a little bit late or had to put equipment away or something, have them make positive comments and compliment each other. And I'll throw little candy, hard candy at them if they compliment someone or if they compliment the coach. We always want to do that if the coach is there and encourages coaches to attend. And then the message is, like 5 minutes. It's a video. I have a lot of 5-minute videos or a story. The best thing is your story, your personal experiences in life. Jesus always told stories. Man, they pay attention. They love stories. Object lessons, something visual. The attention span is so short with teenagers now. You need to be just really visual with them. Here's some examples I've done. Here's a ball and chain. They think Christianity is a ball and chain, but that's not true. It's joy inside of you and stuff. And so that's a talk right there about having the joy of the Lord in your life. Another one is you can make stories from your own personal experiences from this picture and show it to them. And that God has a huge teddy bear, but we got to give that little teddy bear before you get something better. Here's a great one we all can relate to. It's a pretty common, famous picture here. Life, God has a plan for our lives. They need to hear that. It's not a straight thing, but it's a roller coaster. And during those problems, I mean, we grow and we get better and better, but we're slowly moving up. One FCA just recently, I used this illustration. I just talked about 3 times I was in the pit and how it turned out for good. It made a great talk and really held their interest. Okay. Also, here's another one, the 3 circles. Okay. Christ is outside the circle. Another one, he's inside the circle, but he's not on the throne. He's not on the driver's seat. And the third one, the yellow circle, he's in the control. He's in the driver's seat. And we all can tell hundreds of stories in our personal lives about there. So that's a good example of being visual. Get a guest speaker. If you're the coach, they might get tired of hearing you all the time. So it's good to have a guest speaker. And so another thing, after the message, the content, have them share with one person next to them what stood out to them. Turn to your buddy, turn to your neighbor and share what stood out to you. That gets them to repeat something they learned, and maybe that would reinforce it in that person. Then after that, I ask the whole group what stood out to them and then have them share in front of the whole group, and I'll give them some candy if they make a comment in front of the whole group. And then I do a wrap up with a few main points. Sometimes I'll do that before the question and about sharing what stood out to them and stuff. And so then I would just kind of wrap up. Another thing you can do, start of the season, have them write out any questions they have on a 2x5 card. You can answer one question a week, spend a whole meeting on it. Maybe you won't want to do it at all, but kind of gives you an idea where they're at and what they're curious about. Things you want them to know. Make sure you cover during the season. It doesn't have to be a whole meeting, but maybe it's just a minute. Christianity is not a religion, but a relationship. We want to emphasize that a lot because there's a lot of religious people that don't have a relationship with God. God's way is better than your way and the world's way. In those videos, it shows a lot of pro athletes reach their dreams, they become millionaires, but they're broken inside and they turn to God and their life is so much better and happier. The most common question I've gotten in 42 years of youth ministry is what is the difference between Catholic and Christian? Okay, and here's what I say. Jesus is a hamburger. To get to heaven, you have to have a hamburger. You can get it at Wendy's, Burger King, Red Robin. Doesn't matter as long as it's a hamburger, but it can't be a chicken sandwich. And Jesus is the hamburger. Or Hershey's has about 50 candy bars. Hershey's is like Jesus. You got to be Hershey's brand to get to heaven. It can be a Reese's, a Twix, a Kit Kat, but it's got to be a Hershey's brand. Or you got to be the NFL. Jesus is the NFL. This one guy goes, "Oh, I'm not in the NFL. I'm the Seahawks." Well, if you're on the Seahawks, you're in the NFL. And so in heaven, there's no division. There's no different groups and denominations. By the way, they won't know what the word denomination probably means and stuff. And so, but you want to communicate that to them. It doesn't have to be a whole meeting, just like a quick minute or so. Miscellaneous stuff, I need to know how to make the meeting better. Is get a core of people. Maybe it's one person, maybe it's 4 or 5 people, and pull them together and say, hey, can you attend regularly and invite people and kind of try to make this happen and challenge them to do that if you have a good relationship with them. I did that in Umatilla basketball. Was 2 guys. I went and tried to do FCA with basketball. It wasn't for those 2 guys, and they made it really successful. In college, I led the FCA, and it was about a 7 out of 10. We had about 20 guys that meet on a Sunday night. And this one soccer player named Eric, he would come every week and participate in discussion and bring people. And he didn't have a title. He wasn't vice president or anything. But at the end of the year, at the last meeting, he goes, I was praying and God told me to make this my ministry. And the meetings went from about a 7 out of 10 to a 9 out of 10, just because of what he did and stuff. You get some kids like that, that would just be really awesome. Okay, take a picture and send it to me. I'm curious what's going on. I can use it for our prayer letters and use it to learn their names. Have the coach help you write down all the names or text all the names and stuff. That's just used to memorize their names. Check the weather. You might need to meet in the hallway, a bathroom, a locker room, a gym. I've met on a bus before. I have a bus. I'll bring if it's cold weather and stuff. But maybe you want to meet on Tuesday, but Tuesday the wind's going to be 20 miles an hour. So maybe you want to meet on Monday instead. That's really big in the spring, and in the fall is not a problem because it's so nice all the time. But especially in the spring, that's kind of tough. I usually have 2 or 3 options. I try to plan in advance, be proactive rather than reactive. Communicate with the coach, get in the team app, let the coach know hey, coach, does Tuesday work for this week? And maybe have something planned or something. And communicate with me. Let me know on Sunday as early as possible before like 4 o'clock. When you're planning to meet, because I put out a graphic with all the meetings during the week, and I have to plan how to get the food there. My wife helps deliver it and stuff. And if you can't make a meeting, something comes up, get someone to take your place. Get someone to give a testimony, or another adult, or maybe even a student, and put a student in charge to be a host. I was at an FCA staff retreat in Washington, and John Copter was home, and I couldn't be here for one of the days that he was going to be speaking to the team. So on the lacrosse team, I put Vinny Trevino in charge. Hey, Vinny, can you be the host? You know the format. And he introduced John and did the wrap up and everything. I'm sure after 1 or 2 meetings, there's a student that can do the format of that. Sometimes you ask a student to, share a favorite Bible verse or their testimony. If you have a guest speaker, make sure you tell them what I've told you about the language of the Christian terms, and don't say anything bad about a denomination. I have a testimony sheet they can go over. I'll send it to you. We'll make sure you get it. I usually just text it to somebody, take a picture of it, and send it to them. And if they go through these 7 questions, it'll turn into a good testimony. Okay, this is huge. Make them leave FCA instead of coming to it. The closer they are, the more will come. Okay, what this means is like, so softball sits in a circle and discusses practice and does announcement. And then the softball coach said, hey, we're having FCA here. If you don't want to participate, you can leave. And so it made reverse peer pressure. You didn't have to go to it. And they stayed. And usually out of about 25 out of 25 stayed. Very seldom anyone would leave. The basketball coach did that too. He'd get them in the gym. We talked to him and said, hey, we're going to have FCA here, and you can leave right now if you want to. And it made reverse peer pressure, and attendance just really jump. The closer you are to the meeting room, the more people will come. I learned this during the pandemic. I used to do FCA in a classroom. Once they get in the locker room, some take 2 minutes, some take 20 minutes. Attendance goes way down. You lose so many. I like doing it in a classroom because it's great conditions and you have access to video. But yeah, you just lose so many people, and we start doing it outside, and we're getting like 60 to 70 guys. You have to go right by the FCA meeting to get into the locker room. Okay, let them know what the topic is. If it's really a topic of interest and stuff, or like maybe you're going to play a Russell testimony or some famous football player, Patrick Mahomes or stuff, that might interest them. But I don't like doing girls FCA. Had to do Umatilla girls basketball one day, and I get a really bad turnout, like maybe 8 girls out of 50. And as the team was sitting in the middle, I said, "Hey, coach, can I say something about FCA?" And I said, "Hey, girls, the topic today for FCA is 5 reasons you can be happy by not dating someone." And that just like 25 girls came, about half the team came, just because the topic was very interesting. By the way, on topics, guys are really more interested in sports, and the girls are too. But if you talk about, especially in middle school, body image, drama, dating, any of those girls' issues, girls just have so many more issues and stuff. Yeah, Sadie Robinson on YouTube is a really good resource. Go to their games. That means lots to them. You don't have to stay the whole time, but just make sure they see you. You can stay there for one inning, watch them bat one time, and you can take off. Share the gospel. Most of them aren't Christians. We get a lot of people saved. But don't do it the last meeting of the year. The last meeting of the year, they're going to have a pizza party in middle school, and that happens all the time. In high school, something always comes up, team dinner or something. And I have a video. It's an animation of the bridge illustration, and the guy has an individual invitational prayer during it. And so I say, watch this video. It's a great explanation of what it means to follow Christ. If you want to, say the prayer silent to yourself, and I'll have them fill out a comment card if they say the prayer. Or I have these cards right here. I have thousands of them. It explains the bridge illustration. On the back is a sample prayer that they can pray to ask Christ in their life. I said, it's not the words, it's the attitude of your heart. Go text FCA there. They'll send you 4 videos a day. 4 videos, one a day for 4 days of professional athletes talking for about 3-4 minutes what it means to follow Christ, and then they'll leave you alone, and has the place for your date for your birth certificate there. So you want to share the gospel. Also, I have my card. I'll probably be at a game and taking pictures, and they follow me on social media. That's a good thing, so they know what's going on. On the back is a bunch of FCA YouVersion Bible apps there. Okay, advertise Christian events, advertise youth groups, advertise campus life, advertise a Christian movie if it's playing, like the Jesus Revolution. In April, George Foreman's story is going to be playing. We have a weekend camp. Advertise that weekend camp in August. Get the flyers out. Play the video. Okay. Teach them about the YouVersion Bible app. Man, they don't know there's stuff about how to break up and about dating and drama and loneliness and sports. Hey, a great Bible plan in there is the Christian Athlete 7 Lessons. It'll give you some great ideas for a message. Prepare in advance so the message has time to ferment like wine. If you get it ready 5-6 days in advance and you're ready to go, you can think of object lessons to the week as you go through that. Or there's a good saying, get away to get ahead. Get away and make 4 or 5 meetings in a row, and you're ready to go for the whole season. Over communicate with me. Like I said, I'm sitting around on Sundays, and I gotta wait for all the coaches, all the FCA leaders to contact me before I can plan out my week. And I advertise in social media and school announcements and remind kids and stuff. Get a roster and use it as a prayer list. Get your husband or wife to pray over them. Get your church to pray over them. Get a lot of people praying for them. Also, it's helpful to remember names. Try to meet every time the same week, like every Wednesday and stuff. But sometimes the weather's not going to cooperate. There might be a conflict or a change in schedule. There might be other sports going. Like sometimes in Hermiston football, I'll meet on I usually meet on Tuesday because they don't have any conflicts on Tuesday. But sometimes there's a volleyball game going on. Sometimes there's a soccer game going on at the same time. They want to go to those games right after practice. Sometimes it's better to do it when those games are going on because they want to snack before they go to the games and stuff. But I would guess in middle school, there's a middle school track meet going on, and you have a softball or baseball practice, I think they might be more likely to leave. I know I did FCA wrestling at the middle school, and if there was a basketball game going on, most of them stayed that time. They were hungry. They wanted to snack. Tell them to let their parents know. That's huge. I'll try to get in the school announcement. Like I always say, let your parents know, especially in middle school, and parents are welcome to come. We can minister to them too. Resources. FCA.org resources has thousands of resources, meetings that have been used before. Daily Impact can come to your email. It's put out by FCA. You can subscribe at FCA.org, or you can come to Twitter or Facebook. Basically, it's a short devotional. It goes ready, set, go. Ready is a Bible verse. Set is like two paragraphs of a sports story, and go is like 3 questions. You can use it as part of a meeting. I found out it's a little bit too short for a meeting and stuff, but it's a good part of a meeting. Sports Spectrum is a fantastic resource. Jason Romano is the ESPN sports broadcaster, and every time they talk about Jesus, they change the subject or cut him off. So he quit and started his own ministry. So you want to subscribe to him on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook. You can find out all who the Christian athletes are. You can repost them and stuff. You follow me on Facebook, you see I'm reposting them all the time. I know that the 32 quarterbacks, or 22 out of 32 quarterbacks in NFL, are Christians because of Sports Spectrum. I listen to the podcast for like maybe a half hour, but I'll do it while I'm on a bicycle or working out, or while I'm cleaning my room, and I can get great talks from them. One example, this one guy was a free agent in the NFL, was cut 7 times in 5 years in the NFL, and they got a phone call from the Dallas Cowboys, and they said, will you be our sports chaplain? And he's realized that getting cut 7 times in 5 years from different teams prepared him to be a sports chaplain. All those trials, the excitement of getting a phone call, and the disappointment of being cut, because his players experienced that. Unpack This is you can subscribe to your email. The most current sporting event, the guy makes it into a devotional. Kingdom Sports is another one that can come to your email. I have a YouTube channel, FCA Umatilla Morrow County. Probably has 1,000 5-minute sport videos on it, and they're listed by sports. I don't have a lot of like softball or soccer ones, but tons of football, boxing, everything, girl testimonies. And even if you don't have access to video, you can just watch a testimony and tell that person's story. I have them on a flash drive, not all of them, but I put them in folders. So like on this flash drive, there would be girls sports testimonies or football testimonies or track testimonies that you could play. And when you play, it's so easy because you just got to kind of review the main points they said. And I have a projector. I have 4 of these projectors. This is fantastic. See how small it is. This has a battery. You don't have to plug it in. Has a built-in speaker and a thing for USB. So all you need is a flash drive. You don't need a computer. So I've done this on the bus. I've done this in locker rooms and closets. I bring a Elmer's trifold for a screen. I can just set up anywhere and stuff. So I have 4 of these. So if you want to use one of these, they're available towards you. Okay. Here's a verse to give you confidence. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or panic before them, for the Lord God will personally go ahead of you. I love the verse that says God will go with you, but I like this verse even more because he's already gone before me. I don't have self-confidence. I have Christ confidence. He's gone before me. He's prepared the heart of the coach. He's opened the door, and he says, I'll never fail you. I'll never abandon you. You're undefeated when you do this for God and stuff. So have confidence. Make sure you're filled with the Holy Spirit. Pray beforehand. Be prepared, and just really trust God. It's, kids today, the families are dropping out of church because of AAU basketball and AS and softball and lacrosse, and they're gone every weekend. And once a kid drops out of youth group because of sports and stuff or never gets involved, it's pretty much the end of it. And so you're like a missionary. You're going to them. Les Schwab has a store you can go to, but they have a truck that comes to you if you have a problem. You're at the Les Schwab truck. You're going to them, okay? We have to have a go-to mindset rather than come see us mindset. We're the taco truck, okay? They're not going to go to the restaurant, but the taco trucks can go to them. So have a spirit of excellence and pray. And, man, I'll be praying for you. God bless you for doing this. So give me a call if you have any questions or need any help or need any resources.